Well, the OHL offseason is nearly over, and we've been filling this void with this OHL history series going season by season. It started with the 1980-81 campaign when the Ontario Hockey League, as we know it, formed, and now the final installment of this offseason edition of the OHL history series, 2024-25, the season that we just wrapped up a couple months ago. So I know it's fresh in our minds, but maybe down the road, if you're wanting to go through the history series again, this could serve as a bit of a refresher before we go into the 25-26 campaign. So let's dive into it. The final installment for this summer. This is actually the first season where the Ontario Hockey League would have a brand new commissioner. David Branch helped form the Ontario Hockey League as we know it. He remained the leader of the league right up until the end of the 23-24 season. And during the summer, so a year ago this time, at the time of recording, Brian Crawford would be named the new OHL commissioner. He had time with the RBC Canadian Open, of course, a former professional football player playing with the Toronto Argonauts in the CFL, and now calling the shots with the Ontario Hockey League. And actually, it was really neat that he went to all 20 OHL rinks just to get a sense of the league, the vibe of each organization and community, and off to a pretty good start. Also announced that there would be expansion on the horizon. So there's been a lot of expansion talk during the previous season, and we'll get a little more into it, I'm sure, in the coming weeks. But this would also signal the end of hockey in the city of Mississauga, as the Steelheads would officially move from Mississauga to Brampton to play out of the CAA Center. They would continue to be known as the Brampton Steelheads, as Elliot Kerr, the owner, saying this is really Peel Region's team, and they would keep the same look. They would even keep the same shoulder crest, which is the letter M with the lighthouse. So it says Brampton on the front, but still signs of Mississauga. But we'll wait and see how it all plays out in the city of Brampton. And this is the first time the OHL would return to the city since the battalion left for North Bay back in 2013. So let's dive into it. The standings for the 24-25 season. Starting off the West Division, the Windsor Spitfires, they led the way with a record of 45-17-4-2, 96 points. They were almost last in the league the season before and end up first in their own division. What a turnaround it was for the Spitfires. Second in the division, the Saginaw Spirit, 38-27-2-1 for 79 points. The Flint Firebirds, they would finish third with a record of 29-34-2-3 for 63 points. The Sioux Greyhounds, fourth with a record of 29-35-2-2, 62 points. And at the bottom of the division and missing the playoffs would be the Sarnia Sting with a record of 22-33-6-7 for 57 points. In the Midwest Division, the London Knights once again take the top spot with a record of 55-11-2, 112 points, while the Kitchener Rangers, defying expectations for the second season in a row, this time finishing with a record of 47-15-4-2, 100 points. What a year it was from the Rangers. Third in the Midwest, the Erie Otters. They had a record of 34-28-4-2, 74 points. The Owen Sound Attack, they would make the playoffs with a record of 26-35-4-3, 59 points, while the Guelph Storm on the outside looking in with a record of 21-38-5-4 for 51 points. Shifting to the Eastern Conference, we'll start with the Central, where the Barrie Colts would win the division with a record of 42-22-2-2, 88 points. The Brampton Steelheads, second in the division, 36-22-10. They had 82 points for their total. The Sudbury Wolves, they would finish third with a record of 32-31-5, 69 points. The Niagara Ice Dogs back in the playoffs with a record of 29-31-4-4, 66 points. Well, the North Bay Battalion, they took a drop. They still made the playoffs with a record of 28-34-6 for 62 points. In the East Division, it was a battle right to the finish, but the Brantford Bulldogs, they would end up on top, a record of 44-19-5, 93 points. The Kingston Frontenacs, second in the division, 40-25-3 for 88 points. The Oshawa Generals, third with a record of 41-21-4-2, 88 points. Missing the playoffs would be the Ottawa 67s. They finished with a record of 24-34-4-6, 58 points. And also missing the playoffs, the Peterborough Petes with a record of 18-41-4-5 for 45 points. So during this season, the Brantford Bulldogs would actually change hands during the regular season. Michael Anlauer, who moved the Belleville Bulls to Hamilton to become the Bulldogs, and the team relocating to Brantford because of the renovations at the First Ontario Center, announced that he was selling the team to Zach Hyman and his family. And at the time of the sale, they also announced that the Bulldogs signing a 15-year lease agreement to stay in the Telephone City. Remember when the Bulldogs moved from Hamilton to Brantford, the idea was it was a 3-year agreement and they would move back to Hamilton once the renovations were complete. But the fans in Brantford have been incredible. They've welcomed this team open arms, and the atmosphere at the Civic Center has been amazing. So OHL hockey here to stay in the city of Brantford. Now the question remains, does the OHL ever return to Hamilton? So that's going to be something to discuss, I think, in the future. But a big signing here, making the move to Brantford permanent with the Hyman family taking over. The Niagara Ice Dogs, they would find themselves in the middle of a third-party investigation once again. This happened in the second half of the regular season. What was happening was there was complaints about inappropriate behavior, and in the playoffs, there was actually a situation where every member of the Niagara Ice Dogs had to miss a period in the series against the Barrie Colts for a situation that happened in a movie theater. It was not pretty, especially with the fans in St. Catharines. Excited to see this team be competitive once again. They were challenging for first in the division for the first half of the regular season, surprising many, and then fell apart in the second half, still making the playoffs. So there was that optimism that this team's in the postseason, but then with this third-party investigation and then the suspension in the playoffs, it was just, you take the good and separate it from the bad, and we'll see what happens next for this Niagara Ice Dogs team. But they also ended up cleaning house. A whole new coaching staff, new management. So we'll see what happens going forward when it comes to the Niagara Ice Dogs. Now, at this end of the regular season, the Sarnia Sting would also announce a change in ownership. Ryan Finch and Mark Guy, they would join David Legwan as the new ownership group of the Sarnia Sting. And a lot of positive talk from that press conference about upgrades at the arena and maybe a future bid on the Memorial Cup. It'd be a new team to host, but we'll have to wait and see what happens on that front. It'd be kind of exciting to see maybe the Sarnia Sting in the future being a host of the CHL Memorial Cup. We'll have to wait and see. Now, taking a look at the top scorers from this season, it was a very entertaining season all around from the play on the ice, and it all starts with Michael Misa of the Saginaw Spirit. 62 goals, 72 assists, 134 points. Misa, of course, granted exceptional status, and this was his third season already with the Saginaw Spirit before going into the 2025 NHL Draft. Second in scoring, Ilya Protas of the Windsor Spitfires. 50 goals, 74 assists, 124 points. Liam Greentree of the Windsor Spitfires, he was third in scoring, 49 goals, 70 assists, 119 points. Fourth in scoring, Nick Lardis of the Brantford Bulldogs, 71 goals, 46 assists, 117 points. We haven't seen goal scoring like this since John Tavares scored 72 in, I believe it was the 2009 campaign. And then you have Zane Parekh of the Saginaw Spirit, 33 goals, 74 assists, 107 points. Patrick Thomas of the Brantford Bulldogs, 27 goals, 77 assists, 104 points. Then you have Porter Martone of the Brampton Steelheads, 37 goals, 61 assists, 98 points. Jake O'Brien of the Brantford Bulldogs, he was eighth in scoring, 32 goals, 66 assists, 98 points. Ninth in scoring, Kieran Walton of the Sudbury Wolves, 38 goals, 54 assists, 92 points. And rounding out the top 10, Sam Dickinson of the London Knights, 29 goals, 62 assists, 91 points. Looking at the postseason, starting with the Western Conference, London Knights, they would meet the Owen Sound Attack in the opening round, and London, no issues in that first round as they would complete the series sweep, while the Windsor Spitfires, they would eliminate the Sioux Greyhounds in 5 games. Kitchener and Flint would go head-to-head, and it would be the Rangers winning that series in 5. And then an upset in the first round, the Erie Otters knocking out the Saginaw Spirit in 5 games. Over in the Eastern Conference, the Brantford Bulldogs, no issues with North Bay winning that series in 5. The Barrie Colts, they would eliminate the Niagara Ice Dogs, also in 5 games. The Kingston Frontenacs, their first series sweep in franchise history, as they would eliminate the Sudbury Wolves in 4 games. And the Oshawa Generals, they would defeat the Brampton Steelheads. This was expected to be a huge heavyweight matchup, and it would be the Generals on top, winning that series in 6 games. In the second round of the playoffs, London against Erie, and again, the Knights, no issues. They would sweep the Otters 4 straight. And then Windsor and Kitchener renew their playoff rivalry. The Spitfires, they were up 3 games in this series, and the Rangers complete the come from behind series sweep in 7 to advance to the conference final. Over in the East, the Brantford Bulldogs, their run was cut short as the Oshawa Generals eliminate the Bulldogs in 6. Mind you, Nick Lardis going down with injury in this series, so injury is a factor there for Brantford. And then the Barrie Colts and Kingston Frontenacs, the home team won every game, and the Colts, they would win this series in 7. For the conference final, starting off in the West, London against Kitchener, there was really no stopping the London Knights. They would complete the series sweep of the Rangers. And in the East, it was another sweep. The Oshawa Generals, using that experience to their advantage, would complete the series sweep of the Barrie Colts. So for the J. Ross Robertson Cup, in back-to-back seasons, we'd have the London Knights from the West and the Oshawa Generals from the East. This is actually the first time in OHL history that the teams would repeat in back-to-back OHL championships. And a bit of a different result this time, as the London Knights needed 5 games to eliminate Oshawa, as in the 2024 championship, the Knights completed the series sweep. So Oshawa getting 1 win against the Knights, but not enough, as London back-to-back J. Ross Robertson Cup trophy champions. So the Knights going off to the Memorial Cup, which was being held in Rimouski. The Oceanic were the hosts. And joining them would be the Moncton Wildcats, who won the QMJHL, and the Medicine Hat Tigers of the WHL. Now for the Knights, they had a record of 2-1 coming out of the round robin. In the semifinal, London, they would have to face the Wildcats, and they had no issues winning this game by a score of 5-2. And then in the final, London, they would go on to defeat the Medicine Hat Tigers, who had Gavin McKenna, and they would win their 3rd Memorial Cup championship in franchise history by that final score of 4-1. So the Knights, their dominance continued for 3 straight seasons, going to an OHL championship. They won the 2024 title and the 2025, and finally winning a Memorial Cup, as they had unfinished business after the dramatic loss in Saginaw in 2023. So let's take a look at our award winners from the 2025 campaign. Your Wayne Gretzky 99 Award playoff MVP, it would be Kasper Halttunen of the London Knights, taking home that title. Also winning the Matt Layden for Coach of the Year, that would be Jussi Hokus of the Kitchener Rangers. What a great job he's been doing with that program. Corey Cooper of the Kingston Frontenacs was named General Manager of the Year for 2025. The Red Tilson and the Eddie Powers, both going to Michael Misa of the Saginaw Spirit. The Dave Pinkney Trophy for lowest team goals against would be Austin Elliott and Alexei Medvedev of the London Knights. Sam Dickinson named the most outstanding defenseman. Your top scoring right winger, the Jim Mahan Memorial Trophy, would go to Nick Lardis of the Brantford Bulldogs. Rookie of the Year, Pierce Bowie of the Owen Sound Attack. The William Hanley Trophy for most sportsmanlike player would be Ilya Protas of the Windsor Spitfires. The W.F. Dinty Moore Trophy for best rookie goals against would be Alexei Medvedev of the London Knights. Michael Misa, the Scholastic Player of the Year. Jackson Parsons of the Kitchener Rangers, winning both the Overage Player of the Year and Goaltender of the Year. Parsons, a lot of credit for Kitchener's run in the 24-25 campaign. Denver Barkey, he would win the Humanitarian of the Year award, the Dan Snyder Memorial Trophy. The Roger Nielsen would go to Thomas Budnick of the Brantford Bulldogs. Caden Cinco would be the Ivan Tennant Memorial Award winner. And the Captain's Trophy would go to Liam Greentree of the Windsor Spitfires. So what a season it was, 2024-25. And the London Knights, 3 straight OHL championship appearances, and would finally take home their 3rd Memorial Cup trophy in franchise history. So that's a summary of the 24-25 season. That also means the series that we've been doing comes to an end. If you haven't seen the previous videos, it goes back to 1980-81, right up until this one. You can find the playlist on the channel under OHL History. And yeah, thank you very much if you've been a part of this journey the whole way. It's just another step closer now to the start of the 25-26 OHL regular season. So again, thank you very much for all your support. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.